Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 carry comp versus Glock G28, a concealed carry comparison. We're back out here at the beautiful Banner shooting range today for another exciting edition of our Bodyguard 2 carry comp versus series. Today, the carry comp is going head-to-head against the Glock G28. You might be asking why the G28 instead of the G42 in today's video. The G28 would be the subcompact double stack version of the G. It's a 380 version of the G26. That's an easy way to think of it. This was a limited release by Tallow in partnership with Glock, where it's a Gen 3 G26 chambered in 380 ACP, the G28. If you watched our previous videos on the firearm, you know that we lament it's not the Gen 5 version of the G26. Anyway, let's put some holes in paper today with both firearms. We'll start with our Bodyguard 2 carry comp. This will be shooting 12 round magazines today. First two magazines we'll just shoot with 12 rounds, and then after that we'll probably do 10 for round numbers. The G28, I only have 10 round mags. What we'll do here is we'll fire a mag from each firearm. We'll reload, we'll do another mag, mix in some double taps, and then maybe shoot some challenge targets or whatever else we can think of for the third range portion. Let's start with our carry comp against our top left target. Here we go. 12 shots. A few in the bullseye, a little below the bullseye. First shot a little high, but on target. Let's see how the G28 does. After shooting the Bodyguard 2, the G28 feels massive in the hand. Giggity. Here we go. Top right target. I don't know where the first shot went, but the next 9 seems pretty good. You'll notice with the G28 that at least my G28 has a nasty habit of flinging brass right back at the shooter's face. It felt like multiple bounced off my forehead, even one off my shoulder, it felt like. Let's do a second magazine now. This time we'll mix in some double taps. We'll start with the Bodyguard 2 again at our left-hand target. Do a couple slow measured shots, a handful of double taps, and then some slow measured shots. Here we go. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe 9 or 12 on the target from back here. Not too spectacular, but we were shooting slightly faster than a measured pace, I would say. G28, 2-round disadvantage. But let's see how it does. Here we go. Maybe 8 of 10. We'll have to review target cam. I want to say 8 of 10. I definitely felt a few more of the empty brass pink off my forehead. A little distracting, but we got through it. Another thing I noticed shooting the G28 when it's time to reload is the mags don't fall free on their own, which maybe I just have to, yeah, I gotta adjust my grips around to get more purchase on the button, I guess. But with the Bodyguard, when it's time to reload, mags fall free, which is nice. For our newer viewers and those unfamiliar with these firearms, we're going to go over their numbers and their features now. The Glock G28 is a striker-fired, subcompact, double-stack magazine-fed pistol chambered in .380 ACP. It is 6.5 inches long, 4.17 inches high, 1.26 inches wide, and weighs in at 20.64 ounces unloaded. This pistol has a 3.43-inch steel barrel. The G28 has a stainless steel slide and barrel, a polymer grip frame. It has Glock's safe action trigger system, which includes a trigger safety, a firing pin safety, and a drop safety. The G28 is the same size as the G26 and G27. The US version of the G28 is made in Smyrna, Georgia. This pistol was first introduced in 1997 on the international market, but wasn't available in the US until 2023. This G28 is a Gen 3 Glock, and it comes with two 10-round magazines. The G28 comes with Glock's standard box and dot sights. These sights are replaceable if you're not a fan. The G28 with Glock's safe action striker-fired trigger has a consistent trigger pull from your first round to your last round of your magazine. Off my gauge, it's at approximately 5.5 pounds. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0 Performance Center Carry Comp is a micro-compact, striker-fired, double-stack magazine-fed pistol chambered in .380 ACP. It is 5.85 inches long, 4 inches high, 0.88 inches wide, and weighs in at 11.8 ounces unloaded. This firearm has a 3.1-inch stainless steel barrel. The Carry Comp has the stainless steel slide and barrel, along with a polymer grip frame. The slide and barrel have the Armor Knight finish. The Carry Comp has a 3.1-inch barrel compared to the 2 3/4-inch barrel of the original Bodyguard 2. It is also 5.85 inches long compared to 5.5 inches long. The Carry Comp, as its name implies, has a slide integrated compensator along with what Smith & Wesson calls a power port in the barrel to help reduce recoil. It also comes with different sights and serrations versus the original Bodyguard 2. It comes with one 10-round and one 12-round magazine and is approximately $100 more expensive than the original Bodyguard 2. As an updated set of sights compared to the original Bodyguard 2, the Carry Comp has an Ameriglow Tritium front night sight with an anti-glare square notch rear sight. If you're not a fan of these sights, they are replaceable. The trigger on the Carry Comp, the same trigger as on the Bodyguard 2. It is Smith & Wesson's flat face trigger that has a type of trigger safety. Off my gauge, the trigger comes in at around 3 pounds, 1 ounce. As the name implies, the Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp has a slide integrated compensator. Here you can see a close-up of that slide integrated compensator, as well as what Smith & Wesson calls the power port in the barrel. Now that we have the numbers and features out of the way, let's head back to the range for a little more fun with these two firearms. Before we take a crack at our challenge targets, let's do a simple little drill here and work on your one-handed shooting, your transitions, and your offhand two-hand shooting. What I'm going to do with both firearms is I'll do 2 shots with our normal two-handed grip, 3 shots right-handed, transition to left-handed, 3 shots left-handed, 2 shots with our left-handed two-handed grip, giving us a grand total of 10 shots. We'll start with the Bodyguard 2 at our bottom left target. Here we go. Okay, I'll have to count up the impacts, if any, on the target from reviewing target cam. Let's see how that goes with our G28 now. Same sequence. We might have the same number of hits combined on our last two sequences on both targets. From back here, the counts look identical. For the final test in today's video, we're going to do a partial magazine at our 2-inch challenge targets. I had 6 rounds of Winchester white box left. So what I have in each magazine is the first 3 shots will be Winchester white box. Following 5 shots will be Blazer brass 95 grain full metal jacket. We'll start again with the Bodyguard 2 at our left hand challenge target. Let's see if we can put any hits on that target today. Here we go. It looks like we have one a little left of the bullseye, one a little low left on the card, but not on the target. That looks like it's it from here. Let's see how the G28 now does at our right hand target. Okay, G28 appears to have one, at least one in the bullseye, one directly below the bullseye, one at about 7 o'clock on the target, one on the right side of our target, maybe touching the right edge of the target on the paper. Maybe more, but from back here, it looks like at least 4 hits on the target with our G28. As we dive into the conclusion to today's video, I think we saw 2 good concealed carry firearms chambered in 380 ACP that happen to be at completely different ends of the consumer spectrum. Starting with our G28 here, this is, well, a Gen 3 G28 in a Gen 5 world. And we'll come back to that later. I do have some gripes about it. Some people think I'm a little picky, but I think I have legitimate gripes on that front. As far as the pistol itself goes, it's the double stack subcompact Glock chambered in 380 that for probably 2 decades fans of 380s were looking for in America. And well, we didn't get until that limited release partnership with Tallow. The firearm, as far as accuracy and reliability goes, if you ignore at least my pistol's tendency to eject brass right at the shooter's face, it's a very reliable pistol, and it might be one of, if not the most accurate 380 that we regularly feature on the channel. It's very accurate, it's easy to shoot, it's at a size and weight that absorb recoil well, and being a subcompact double-stacked pistol, it's fairly concealable. Not nearly as concealable as, say, the micro-compact pocketable pistols that are all the rage today, but certainly much more concealable than a full-size pistol. So what are my gripes on this G28? Well, One of them is, and this isn't unique to Gen 3s, is it's of a size where compared to those micro compact pistols, like say your LCPs, your Bodyguards, especially when you shoot this side by side with them, it feels very fat in the hand. Those with larger hands will probably be fans of that, though those of us with more normal sized or even strong hands are going to feel like this pistol is oversized. And while I can get a good grip on this pistol, maintain a good grip under recoil, get a good straight trigger pull, where I notice that fatness is when it comes time to eject my magazine and reload. As we saw in the video with my natural grip, I can barely get enough of a press on the magazine release to where I have to manually strip out the magazine. And if I want to get a full complete press of that magazine release, I have to rotate my hand around on the grip to be able to correctly articulate the magazine release to get that free fall to happen. And I'm not a fan of having to adjust my grip in such a manner during the reload, because then I have to adjust my grip back into the natural position. And I feel like that compromises my speed and potentially affects follow-up shot accuracy. My one big gripe about this being Gen 3 instead of Gen 5 comes down to how easy it is to take down. While the mechanics are the same as on other Glocks, the way that we'll call this takedown lever works and how difficult it is compared to, say, my Gen 5 G26, this Gen 3 G28 is significantly more difficult to articulate that takedown lever down, get the slide back, pull the... It's just not as easy to do as on a Gen 5 Glock, which makes it, for me, much more difficult to field strip, clean, and maintain compared to those Gen 5 Glocks. I feel like it would also benefit from the Gen 5 slight trigger upgrade, marksman barrel, the not having the finger nubs, the slightly different texture pattern. But those things I think are more nitpicky, whereas the difficulty in field stripping the pistol I think is a much more legitimate reason to Gen 5-ize it. Let's move to our Bodyguard 2, which would be the new hot pistol these days. In this video, we were looking at the Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp, which is the compensated version of the Bodyguard 2 that has the 3.1-inch barrel with the frame integrated compensator. For as good as the Bodyguard 2 was, in my opinion and many others, Smith & Wesson has another home run on their hands with this Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp. One thing some people these days are going to find hard to believe is that a pistol this size has a 2-round capacity advantage over a pistol this size. That's a significant advantage. Now, some people are going to say you can order those Glock mags off the inner tubes and get, as good or better capacity. Though if you're like me and you prefer to shop in stores, at least where I live, there aren't any stores in my area that stock G28 mags. Never mind the extended G28 mags that allow you to get a full pinky on the firearm. Which brings me to another point. On our Bodyguard 2, I can get a full hand grip of the firearm, even with the 10-round magazine, to where I still get my pinky on the firearm and get a proper support and hold of the firearm. With our G28, it's a good thing this firearm is chambered in 380 ACP, because as we can see here, I can only get 2 fingers, my ring finger and my middle finger, for support on this firearm, and my pinky, for all intents and purposes, is pretty worthless. Now, some people aren't fans of pinkies, though I think it helps you actually get a secure hold of the firearm and maintain control over recoil when you can have a 4-finger grip on the firearm instead of a 2 to 3-finger grip on your firearm. Some other advantages that in today's world this Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp has over something like our G28 is it's going to be much more concealable. There are those who are going to argue that the addition of the compensator and the extra barrel length take it out of pocketability range, though I'm of the mindset, and we've seen this in other videos where I've shown this, that if you can comfortably pocket carry your Bodyguard 2, the additional 0.3 of an inch for the Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp aren't going to make any difference as far as your pockets and concealed carrying go. You'll also see some comments on the inner tubes about how the compensator is worthless on the Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp and you lose power. Well, if you've been following along with our Bodyguard 2 versus Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp velocity comparison series, of the 15 tests that are live, the 20 that we filmed, there hasn't been a single one where the Bodyguard 2 Carry Comp has had the lowest velocity of the day. It's beat out, of course, our Bodyguard 2, but also guest stars like the LCP Max the SIG P365 380, and even though it's going to be hard to believe, even the longer barrel of our Glock G42. Interesting, right? Losing so much power from that compensator, and yet it still has maintained the highest velocity across 20 tests with 20 different concealed carry personal protection ammos. So it's got that going for it, which is nice. So it's highly concealable. It's got the updated sights compared to the Bodyguard 2 along with that compensator. It's very easy to shoot. It's accurate. It's reliable. Across all the ammunition that we've tested so far, the only failure we had in this firearm was in the first or second magazine that you saw in our first range report, which we chalked up to the cheapest range ammo we could find, combined with breaking in the firearm. So it's very reliable. It's easy to carry. It's priced at a reasonably accessible price point, and it's very easy to carry. All attributes that are hard to argue with. So all in all, while we saw two excellent concealed carry personal protection firearms in 380, as I said, I feel like our G28 is at a different end of the spectrum compared to our Bodyguard 2. There are those who will say that the G28 is a collector's item. I don't know, maybe it has a cult following, and if you find someone that's in that cult of Glock double stack 380s in America, you can get a collector's price for it. Though where I live, while you don't see these pretty much anywhere at this point on the new store shelf, you do see them in the used case fairly often, and they're priced in that, we'll say, $400 to $500 ballpark, which is a good $100 to $200 cheaper than when they released. For being a, quote, collector's item, they sure haven't gone up in much price. In fact, the opposite. Though again, maybe if you find someone that's in that cult of Glock double stack 380s, they'll pay a premium for it. Maybe that's years and years down the road, though, I don't know, call me skeptical. I just don't see that happening. And while I don't think the Bodyguard 2 or the Bodyguard 2 carry comp are ever going to be collector's items either, I do think as far as value for the money, shootability, concealability, and quality firearms go, that they're every bit as good and, well, actually better than our G28 happens to be. But again, that's just my opinion. Let us know in the comments how you feel about these two firearms. And that seems like the perfect spot to end today's video. If you enjoyed today's presentation, like it, share it with your friends and family. Those things are free and they really help the channel greatly. If you'd like to help us make more of these videos in the future, look into becoming a member. Fred and I really appreciate you getting this far. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a good day. Frederick the Navigator. The drive of the Cork the Navigator. He says, Puman, take me to where the Doritos flow. What do you think, Fred? Where do you think we'll see some wildlife today? In the wild! In the wild. Oh, we got the bees. What do you see over there, Fred? Give the biggity marks. Biggity marks. Biggity marks. Frederick's bigot.